What's up everyone, it's Kadi with MoneyVest. So in this video, I wanted to go over the Magnificent 7 stocks and go over their technical analysis as part of our weekend videos. As always, if you enjoy it, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're just joining us for the first time, the link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining. The first week of the month is the best time to join, and of course you get access to all the members only videos, access to all the Excel spreadsheets, and the Discord access with over 20 plus channels, and the ability to engage with over thousands of traders worldwide from all over the world. So link's going to be down below and we'd love to have you on board. One more thing I want to mention is that our fundamental and technical analysis courses, options course, and psychology course is going to be available with the link down below. This right here is from one of our students, Jason Mao. Shout out to him for putting this review together. I really appreciate it. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but just to give you a little bit of a sense on what the community is saying about these courses, especially the psychology course, because I've put my heart and soul into these courses. So I really want this course and the lessons from these videos and lectures to reach as many people as possible. And for that very reason, I've made it free for your family members. So if you do sign up, let me know if your family members, siblings, parents, kids, if you want them to access the course as well, they can do that for free. It's a lifetime access. All additional courses and lectures and videos will be uploaded for free. But Jason basically says, I had the opportunity to take Karthik's psychology investing course and wanted to share a brief review with the community. I had taken all of the previous courses prior to and expected the same level of quality content, and this did not disappoint at all. He went over his background. That is true. I go over my story in a lot of detail. There's a lot of personal details that have been shared in that video. It's a 40-minute video going over my personal story of investing, how I got started, my childhood, my parents, everything is covered in that video, details that I've never shared with anyone on YouTube, and of course my philosophy on life and the way I approach certain things, and my beliefs around money, investing, time management, markets, trading, personal finance, everything. So these are, principles that you can apply. Doesn't matter how old you are, but you can apply these principles with whatever you're doing, in my opinion. And these are timeless lessons that I think everyone needs to understand and of course learn better so that you can become more consistent and more fulfilled with your financial life. And that's the whole idea, right? That's the whole goal with this as well. So link's gonna be down below. I'll let the work and the content speak for itself, and word of mouth like this really helps me continue to grow the community, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. So link's gonna be down below for that as well. So going over to the very important metric. So this right here is going to be the current read on the RSI, right? So this is the relative strength index for the S&P 500. So we're at 73.43, which obviously is in a 94th percentile, and that is indeed rare at the moment. And of course, days above 70 are just a little bit over 10.27%. So we are again in a very rare sort of environment where the RSI is overbought and we are a little bit overextended to the upside for the RSI reading. This right here is going to be volatility. So we're at 12.63, which is also signaling a rare occurrence, only less than 15 percentile at the moment. And of course, days below 10 is going to be less than 1%. So the moment this index crosses below 10, I think we need to be having our guard up and be very careful with where the markets might go next, because right now we're at 12.63, already at a 14-15 percentile. This right here is the overview of the S&P 500 in terms of valuation. So 4,600, so we're almost at those levels. And given the expectations for earnings at 225 to as much as 220, we're trading at a P multiple of just a little bit over 20, just under 21, so somewhere between 20 and 21, which again gives us an earnings yield of a little bit under 5% at the moment, which definitely does signify that the markets are somewhat overextended from a valuation and of course from a fundamental perspective as well. Something to keep in mind, of course, as we move forward. Now, this right here is going to be the S&P 500, of course, and as you can see that we were in this nice consistent downtrend of lower highs and lower lows, and we have started to move back up. So this right here was the breakout that we witnessed beyond 4,400, and the next resistance target is going to be 4,600. That's going to be in line with this previous resistance as well. So that is going to be the level that we are paying attention to, not to mention the RSI is 73.43, as I mentioned in my previous slide, and of course the MACD also very overextended. So these right here are a couple really important levels to watch, because we continue to move higher, we continue to see that momentum back up, and that's obviously causing the markets to become more and more overbought and overextended as well. So if you take a look at the S&P here, this right here was the overall downtrend. So again, lower highs and lower lows. And of course, since then, the pattern has completely shifted to making higher highs and higher lows. This right here was the sell-off from July all the way through October. And the last 5 weeks have been incredibly strong for the market. So we are approaching this very important red sort of resistance here at just a little bit over 4,600 as well. So that is going to be that level to watch for S&P. And of course, this is the overall downtrending channel. Very nice breakout, as we have talked about, with an overbought RSI and the MACD as well. So 4,600 is the next level to watch going into next week for S&P. Talking about the NASDAQ here. So again, a very similar pattern where it's consistently making these lower highs and lower lows. However, we did see a very strong breakout. So 5 consistent weeks in green in a row. And this right here is going to be that resistance at 14,400 for the NASDAQ. You can see that we're already coming up to that resistance here. This right here is the resistance that we're watching going into next week. And we've got a little bit of a gap to fill over here. As you can see, the NASDAQ basically gapped up and continued to move higher. So this right here is going to be a potential gap that the NASDAQ may or may not come down to fill in. And this is the weekly time frame. So once again, you'll notice a very nice consistent downtrend here. So lower highs and lower lows. And this right here, of course, is the higher highs and higher lows for the NASDAQ as well, making very nice consistent uptrend. Although, again, this right here was the sell-off between July and October. Last 5 weeks have been very strong, and now we're watching this right here as an area of resistance. So this is going to be that level to watch for the NASDAQ, right? That's going to be 14,400. This right here is going to be Apple stock. And Apple here, as you'll notice, was obviously in this downtrend of lower highs and lower lows, a little bit of a falling wedge pattern as well. And of course, then we saw a very nice breakout to the upside. And now it does seem like it's making a bull flag. So this right here is the pull, a potential flag formation, and then of course a breakout beyond this level can put us all the way up to as much as $196, $197. So that right there is going to be that next resistance level to watch in case Apple sees a little bit of a breakout from this bull flag. But we are still, I guess, within the context of this uptrend, so higher highs and higher lows. And if we do end up selling down, or in other words, pulling back, $180 is going to be that support level to watch for Apple, kind of in line with this confluence of higher low and that horizontal previous resistance as well. Again, this right here is the same exact chart for Apple, a little bit of a bull flag formation. We'll find out if you actually do see a breakout or a pullback down to 180. This is going to be Amazon, and you'll notice that Amazon continues to kind of hang up there when it comes to the RSI reading, and the MACD also showing some signs of weakness as it's crossing below that signal line. And of course, not to mention that we are witnessing a little bit of this downtrend and then a breakout, and it's now starting to consolidate sideways. And there is, I would say, a little bit of that negative divergence as well, because as the price continues to maybe move higher, so it's making some higher highs, but the RSI is going sideways. So there is some level of negative divergence that's forming for Amazon at the moment. So I got to be careful with these prices here and where they are. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. As we have already talked about it, these prices are going to roll over. We just don't know exactly when that's going to happen. So risk reward is certainly not very favorable at the moment. This right here is the overall downtrending channel, so lower highs and lower lows. So this is a massive amount of supply for Tesla, right? So this is Tesla we're looking at. So very, very strong resistance. And of course, it's also finding some support here in these areas. And the next level, really, really important level support is going to be sitting in the low 200. So this green rectangle is going to be that support level to watch. And of course, a massive amount of resistance here sitting inside in the 200. So like 280s, 285, 300s. We've talked about this before, right? So massive amount of supply over here. And Tesla's not been able to break above $300 in over a year. So it's been 12 to 16 months. Tesla's traded above $300. So we've got a massive supply sitting right over here inside this circle, inside this square that I just marked, and a lot of support here inside this green rectangle. So still within the context of a downtrend, if you do end up selling off, I could see Tesla maybe in the low 200s. But of course, a breakout is very, very important for Tesla to see it back above 275, 300, possibly 325. And that's why I'll be looking at selling some calls on Tesla as well. Now, when it comes to NVIDIA is a textbook chart. It's a pattern where it's been consolidating sideways. This right here is the overall trend. It's been range bound and it's been trading sideways for a very long time. RSI has been rolling over. MACD is crossing below that signal line, and the next support, really important support, is going to be in the low 400s for NVIDIA. So that is going to be that level to watch right there. RSI is starting to show signs of some weakness. So is the MACD. So wouldn't be surprised if you do see a little bit of a pullback to continue. But of course, a lot of that depends on where the market overall ends up going and how technology performs in general. But obviously, we're getting rejected here at these resistance levels. That's not a surprise. This a couple times now we've gotten rejected, and that's going to be sitting roughly between $480 and $500 per share for NVIDIA. NVIDIA also seems to be having a little bit of a bull flag. So, I would argue that that range that we just witnessed for NVIDIA could also be argued as a little bit of that consolidation here between this range, where you can see that it's basically just trading sideways here on the back of this very strong pull. And of course, a breakout can possibly send NVIDIA, 600 plus, 650 plus, possibly even $700. So there is a possibility for this bull flag breakout, but that's on a weekly time frame. And that for that to happen, this $400 support needs to hold up, right? That's going to be this level right here. That $400 needs to support itself. But we've also got a little bit of a gap to fill on the downside. So if that $400 support doesn't hold up, it's possible that that bull flag breakout fails and we see some more downside for NVIDIA. Talking about advanced micro devices, and AMD also very similar to Amazon, kind of hanging up on the RSI. MACD is also crossing below that signal line, and the price is really just kind of trading sideways. The momentum starting to fade out a little bit, and support level is going to stay put down to 112 to as low as $100 per share. Those right there are going to be a couple support levels, very, very important levels to watch, with the resistance all the way up to $130 per share over here for advanced micro devices. So those right there are going to be the range within which it's been trading and are going to be the levels to watch. This right here is going to be also advanced micro devices. So there's not really any changes here. And this is going to be Google. Now, Google has been under a lot of pressure. So it has been selling off over the last 2 to 3 days. Comm services, in fact, was actually weak in the last couple days here. In fact, last week, I think comm services was down. We've got the RSI rolling over. We got the MACD crossing below that signal line. In fact, you'll notice the first crossover below that signal line here for the first time for Google. And not to mention that we are getting rejected here in this resistance that we have already talked about in the past. That's going to be sitting between $139 and $144 per share. So next support is going to be 126 all the way down to $117 per share. Those right there are going to be a couple levels to watch. And I would argue, I mean, Google still has a little bit of that lower high. And of course, actually horizontal high and a little bit of that lower low. And this entire gap was, of course, recently filled as Google basically came down and pushed right back up to those levels. But it's now starting to make a move downside once again. So those right there are going to be some levels to watch. Next support 126 for Google. Microsoft also showing signs of weakness here. So you'll notice that the RSI is starting to roll over. MACD is also crossing below the signal line, and the price action itself is showing some signs of weakness. So it's not rocket science. We've talked about this before. And as stocks get overbought, eventually they do start to roll over, and support level is going to stay put down to 366 in the near term, all the way down to $340 per share. So those are going to be a couple levels to watch for Microsoft moving forward. Going over to Meta platforms, and Meta also in a very similar situation where it is making a very nice higher high, but it's now starting to come down. You can see the RSI, you can see the MACD starting to roll over a little bit. So it's very clear the MAG7 is struggling a little bit, but Meta is also trading inside the support, sitting between 315 and 330 right now. And of course, we're going to be watching all the way down to as low as 275 as the next possible support. We've gone validated here a couple times, so that is going to be that next level to watch also for Meta. So that pretty much wraps up the entire technical analysis on the Magnificent 7 stocks. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Overall, I would say the markets continue to be a little bit more on the overextended, overbought side. And I think it's going to be very interesting for us to see how the next couple of weeks play out. December seasonality is going to be in full swing, while at the same time, the markets are a bit overbought and overextended, while the valuations continue to become a little bit more stretched at the moment. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Again, links to our Discord, Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. First week of the month is the best time to join, and also do check out the fundamental technical analysis courses, options courses, and psychology course down below as well. Happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.